following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Welcome to The People's View, a program dedicated to discussing local, state, and national issues and their effect on the American people. The People's View provides a platform for state representatives and national figures to present their viewpoint. Whether it's social, economic, or financial topics, you'll hear it on The People's View.
Hello and welcome to The People's View. The People's View is sponsored by the Nashua Republican City Committee, and we have a meeting every second Thursday of the month that's open to all come. And our website is nashuagop.org. Look for any of the information you want about the organization and the speakers that we have at our monthly meeting. But today we're going to talk to Paula Johnson. And Paula, you're running for Alderman-at-Large, going back into the political fray again.
Yes, I am. Thank you, Carl, for allowing me to come on your show today. It's an honor and a privilege.
Well, thank you. But we have your experience caused you to run, or what's brought you back into the political fray?
Well, I guess I should tell you my story. It was last September. I decided to go to a meeting when the city was going to purchase land by the landfill, 3 homes.
That's right.
And I came to the meeting, and I got interested again. Although, unfortunately, one alderman was a little rude to me that night, and I kept going back and asking for my apology, which to this day I haven't gotten it. But I mentioned the other night at an infrastructure meeting that it's almost a year since she had the encounter with me. And I said, happy anniversary. I hoped she wasn't going to have another encounter with me coming up. So, you know, you have to laugh at it. You know, you really do. And as I started going to meeting after meeting after meeting, I started seeing what I've been missing for almost 8 years of staying out of the political arena.
Well, tell us why you think you're qualified. You've been in before, you've been a representative in the state, and you've been active going to all these meetings and making the newspaper too.
I know. Well, I guess what makes me qualified is that I was on the Board of Ed from 2000 to 2002, and in the middle of my term, I decided to run for Alderman-at-Large. And the great people of this city elected me. And then I decided to run for mayor in 2003, or 2003, I decided to run for mayor. I didn't make it, but that was okay, because they decided that they wanted me to stay where I was. 2004, I was asked to run for state rep, and I ran, and I was elected to state rep. So at the end of 2005, I did step down, and at the end of 2006, I stepped down as a state rep when my terms were over with. I needed a breather. But the reason I'm coming back in is because I see that Nashua is going in the wrong direction. We need some common sense back on that board, and somebody who's not a rubber stamp for the mayor to the president of the Board of Aldermen. And I'm qualified.
Okay.
I see that the crime is out of control in the city. It's getting worse. The more we think we've got under control, we don't. We've got major projects coming. We've got the Broad Street Parkway. We have the Renaissance, the revitalization of Nashua down on Bridge Street. We've got the Downtown Sidewalk Project. We've got a lot of big projects coming here.
Yeah.
And there's no breather. And then we also, a lot of these are public-private partnerships that are coming into play here. And I noticed that there's no line item in the budget, so how would you know how much you're expending on a private-public partnership? So these kind of caught my interests.
Well, I know. I kind of feel the same way about the way they count out their money, I guess, and how it goes out. You should, any project, no matter whether it's internal or external, should have a way of gathering all the costs, all the manpower that's put into it, and monitor it as it goes along.
Absolutely. And when I was on the board, I was a nitpicker. Maybe people don't like that, but I did that with the budget. I would sit there for hours at the House and look at every line and question everybody. I was there under Mayor Streeter, and I would question everything. I drove them crazy. And And that's okay,
Yeah.
because that's what you're electing people who's fiscally responsible and saying that I'm being elected by the people, I represent you, not the special interest, not another alderman, and definitely not the mayor of the city.
Right. And so what would you want to do with the crime? Let's look at the crime problem now, the crimes that have increased in a certain way. What do you think would be an effective step into controlling that?
Well, when I was on the board, the police kept asking for more police officers. And back then, in 2002 to 2005, the crime was so low in the city. And people have to understand, and I used to say it all the time, I'm from New York. As people listen to me, they're going to hear that accent come out. But when you have growth, you have crime. And I always said that. And if you're looking to expand the city, then you have to be prepared to expand and know that you're going to have crime happening. We have a lot of drugs on the street. I mean, we've had murders. More, I mean, I've been in the city for 33 years. I lock my doors now, which I didn't before. So the question becomes, do we need more police on the street? Do we need police walking the beat versus being in the cars? How are we going to effectively keep the drugs out of the city? And that's a lot of crime. And there's a lot of spousal abuse, domestic violence. It was just in the paper I was reading. This young man, a 16-year-old, got pregnant. He was beating her up. He wanted to kill the fetus. Excuse me?
Yeah.
You know, these are things that we have to be looking at. And we need probably more intervention. I was talking to a former alderman about that last night.
By intervention, what do you mean?
Well, we need to teach people about what happens with abuse.
Okay.
You don't have to stay. You know,
So it's not only the police department, there's some social services
probably.
that should be
That's where we're
organized
probably
and make a team approach to it.
exactly more so than maybe we've ever had before, because you look at the rate of crime in the city.
Okay, and what about some of these other projects? You were talking earlier about Greeley Park and what was happening, and you're going to a meeting right after this interview.
Yes, the Greeley Park. It's a legacy playground, and they really want Greeley Park. And we have two sides of Greeley Park: the side that we have the picnic area, and then the playground area. And they've decided to move it to the picnic side area, and it's for everybody. But it also is supposed to be accessible, as I was reading today, for people with disabilities, adults and children, and anybody else. It's not just mainly that. And I'm looking at this, if you look at the structure of it, the parking along the side there, you know, that's not the most conducive parking. Are we going to start taking more trees down? I guess that's the question to the
Is that
mayor. Are
what
we
they
going
wanna
to
do?
I don't know, but the question
Okay.
would be, if you're going to be able to make parking, you're going to have to probably take trees down. And we don't want to get into another controversial issue about trees, like with downtown. But people were also looking at the area by Fairgrounds Junior High.
Okay, there's room there for another park, or
There's
what?
room there for another park, and there's parking there. And I think they really should get the residents on the Fairgrounds area to see if they would wish to have something like that. It's flat, there's no grass. I mean, here is grass. So you have to wonder, can a wheelchair go across the grass? It's hills. Can somebody with a walking disability with crutches or canes be able to walk across the grass? I mean, so you have to take a look at it from a lot of aspects here.
And you're saying, too, that there hasn't been enough input from the people and from all the users of all this? Or?
Well, I guess tonight there's going to be another meeting with Public Works, which by the time this airs, you know, people will have seen it in the paper.
Right.
But, I mean, people really need to get involved.
Yeah.
One way or the other, whether you're for something or against it, you need to get involved, because if not, you can't blame the aldermen for not doing their job. They can only get the word out so far, but people need to be informed and get involved.
Is there something in general, I mean, not just with this project, but something that the administration isn't following in the town about getting people's input on this? Do you feel that that process could be improved? I mean, getting feedback so that when they go through with the project, it's one, not a surprise, two, they've considered all the possible problems that might occur, and three, how the neighbors feel about wherever these things are going to go.
Well, I think at the state level, I was told for the abutters notification, it's a small little area. It has to be changed at the state level. The state has dictated that, a lot of this. I'm sure you can write an ordinance here that expands it,
Sure.
but they blame the state for everything. And so when the abutters get notices, if there's only 5 abutters in that area, that's all that's going to get the notice. Now, I know right over here by on West Hollis Street, they want to put a credit union, members credit union, right on the other side of 505 West Hollis Street. I walked the neighborhoods, the new neighborhood where WSMN used to be, and then Pateri's Drive and down Gendron, and gave notices. Nobody showed up.
Oh, really?
Nobody showed up, and they should be, because that's former city land that used to be the city dump. Landfill is the politically correct now, but it was a dump. They used to burn trash there. What is buried out there? That's the question. And now they're coming in, and they're going to have to bore holes and test the soil to see if there's any asbestos, if there's drums out there. So I put this information out, and I didn't know until the meeting that where it merges, where West Hollis goes straight, and it merges to right after you go past 505, it kind of merges. And they want to put 2 cuts there, an into the bank and an exit to the bank. And that's so dangerous there because the lanes are merging and everybody's flying down to cut somebody off. I put notices out. Nobody showed. But what happens is nobody shows until they'll start digging.
Yeah.
And then they'll be screaming that nobody notified them. I did. I don't know if the city had put out abutted notices, if it kind of spread further, maybe they would show because it's from the city. But there has to be a way for people to be able to get more involved. I mean, Channel 16 is great, but not everybody watches it because if they don't have Comcast, then they don't get it.
That's right.
Notices in the paper, not everybody reads the Telegraph.
And they haven't been doing that much of a job on it either. On some of these new projects, they only wait until somebody starts complaining, and then they get some public uproar, and they stir the fire a little bit.
Well, exactly. I mean, I have a lot of concerns about I still have a lot of concerns about the downtown sidewalk. We're going to go over budget. I was one of the people that squawked about you have to put labor into it. You can't leave labor out. That's an important piece. Labor costs the most. And although there's straight time in the city employees, they have to show in your paperwork for labor. And
again, have a project charge.
Exactly. The mayor should have put bids out to see if, in fact, doing within the city would have been the cheapest way to go. It might have been cheaper to have somebody rip up all the bricks or someone to lay the cement to get the projects going faster rather than, every year you do 2 blocks. That's a 4-year project. Well, in 4 years, everything costs more money. You might have been cheaper to have bid it out and have the city do half and maybe an outside contractor do half. That's how I look at it.
Okay. Well, that looks like you want to analyze a lot of these projects before they really get started. And you want to make sure that the administration adheres to a better process, let's say.
It's called holding their feet to the fire. I used to be very good at that with Mayor Streeter. I used to hold his feet to the fire a lot. But there's, when you've got so much going on in the city.
Yeah, it is a lot going on. I agree.
How can you be effective when you want to control everything like the mayor does? She controls it all. And you can't. And a lot of this is public works projects. And is public works big enough to be able to control? I mean, they're in charge of the Broad Street Parkway. That's a very big project. So I have a lot of concerns, a lot of reservations, and that's a lot of reasons why I decided to run again. I love the city. I'm a resident of 33 years.
Well, you've come out with a little blurb here about all you're going to do, what your concerns are, and you're still thinking about the Pennachuck water, and you're thinking about the lease of the parking lot next to Southern New Hampshire Medical Center. So there's a number of things that you're going to question if you get elected. And you show a list of your achievements on here.
I know.
So people will see on the videotape when it shows your address, your email address, your phone number, so they can get in touch with you and tell you their concerns.
Absolutely. And I was always so approachable when I was an alderman. People used to look at me when I'd be shopping at Kmart, and I'd be wearing my blue jeans and my sneakers, and they'd look at me, and I say to them, yeah, I know I'm short. And I look taller in the chair at the meetings, and they'd say to me, Alderman Johnson, and I would shake their hands, and I say, just call me Paula. And they would talk to me, but they say, this is your time. I said, you know what? My time is your time. And, you know, if you have any concerns or any questions, call me. I'm always here. I'm always available. And that's the way you have to be when you're a public official. You have to be approachable, and you have to let people understand that you're there to work for them. And, you know, no question is stupid, and no answer is stupid. And I would always say to them, if I can try to, I'll try to help you. If I can't, I'll let you know. But at least I'll make that effort to try to do and try to resolve issues that you might have.
Good. Do you have enough volunteers to help you, or should people volunteer
I would
to help
love,
you?
the more the merrier,
The more the
because the
merrier.
city is so big
It is.
to walk.
Well, it's
And,
80,000 or 88,000 people. So.
yeah, but we only count houses. We don't count people. If I had to count people, I would really be going crazy. But anybody who would love to help me on my campaign can email me at votepaulajohnson@aol.com, or they can call me on my home phone number, 881-8705. And I'll be more than happy, you know, if they want to stand at the polls. You know, it's a big city, and I'm out there early mornings doing a lit drop, because I would never expect anybody to get up early mornings like I'm doing. But I do it because nobody's around, and I can
Go
do a
through it
neighborhood.
faster.
Yeah, I can do a neighborhood in an hour and a half until you run out of these flyers here.
Okay.
The front and back, they're going to be in orange, goldenrod, white, and off-white, to be a little bit creative for the season
Okay,
here.
Good, good. So people will be looking out for you. They'll be looking at your signs and everything like that.
My signs will say there'll be school bus yellow with black lettering, return Paula Johnson, Alderman-at-Large.
Very good. It sounds like you got everything planned. And what are you going to do the first day you get elected?
I'm going to sit in the chair and say, I've done it again. Take a deep breath and say, okay,
Bring it on.
bring it on, babes. Bring it on. You know, and I would feel honored if the people reelected me again and returned me to the chamber. And I will work as hard as I can for them this time as I did in the past.
Okay. Well, it sounds like we've got a very active person here who's running for office, and I hope our audience appreciates all the people that are going to run. As I said, there's 6 of you running for 3 positions, and we'll be interviewing others who are running for this too, but good luck, and I really hope that everything works out.
Well, thank you. And I just want to let everybody know that I'm number 3 on the ballot,
Okay.
number 3, and I'm the only one that's not in an elected position at this point in time. I'm the outsider looking in who wants to return.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you for listening in to The People's View. And listen to more of our interviews during the next 2 months. We'll be talking to many of the people that are running for the local offices. Thank you for tuning in.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.